But yeah, let's talk about some TV stuff, right? Ricardo, you saw the first 3 episodes of Poker Face season 2. I know
Right,
that at the time of us recording this, the 4th episode has already come out, but you saw the first
right.
three, and the first three were
Yeah,
released in a batch last week. I didn't get a chance to check it out though, and I mean, we both enjoyed Poker Face, right? In my
yeah,
case, it was in my honorable mentions as far as favorite TV shows go. I think it was, right? I think in your case, it was an honorable mention, or it was one of your favorites. I can't remember, but I know we
right.
did mention Poker Face in our best of the year list, right? When it comes to TV. Yeah, it was just cool seeing, McGill, Natasha Leon from Orange is the New Black, which was the show that
Right,
introduced me to her in the first place. Yeah,
right.
be the play the detective, it's that mystery of the week kind of thing. So, just the fact that we're seeing this sort of formula come back to TV, I think that's pretty cool as well, right? And yeah, it just works for, yeah, just a solid, fun, mystery series, right? We don't really get much of those these days, right? In the vein of something like a Columbo or a Murder She Wrote or something like that, right?
Right.
But yeah,
Well, it's Ryan Johnson, and that's pretty much his specialty right now.
yeah, yeah. That sort of
With the glass,
neo-noirish kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, with the Glass Onion Murder Mystery
Yes.
franchise. We've been doing a bunch of these. Yeah, what, two of them right at this point. Uh, yeah, yeah. So it lines up with that, and it does what he does really well with these films is that he will give good misdirections and resolve them in really clever and simple ways. Say, yeah, you go back and you see, hey, look, that little factoid mattered, right? You'll mention it in a conversation or something like that, and it comes back full circle. How to answer the question, or how somebody figure out a way. This that's not the first episode was pretty easy to figure out, although it had a small little nitpick. All the episodes have a little nitpick, but I don't think they really resolved particularly well. But the first and second episodes are really, really clever, funny mysteries, and they have great guest stars for it with that. So the first one is Cynthia Erivo. She gets a what do you call it, boy? Maslany on, right? Like what's the
Oh,
name of the
okay.
show Maslany?
Or Orphan Black.
Orphan
Okay,
Black.
okay.
Yeah, she gets
Okay.
where she plays quintuple family.
Oh,
In
okay,
Someone
okay,
Killed.
okay.
And she plays all of them. And what you learn is that there's a really funny one. So it's involving, as usual, I don't think I'm spoiling anything because all of them do the Columbo thing by telling you the crime, they tell you who the killer is. And the question is how our main character fits into this. That's how they do it. But what they do with this one is the one of the sisters, they started off with one of the sisters being the murderer, and then that sister has to pretend to be the other sisters and fool the other sisters because you think she's a. And well, at that part I won't spoil. But when they do it, it is clever. And yeah, if you didn't think Centurion was talented before, I mean, by now you should. With this, it'll convince you because she
All right,
does it
nice.
really well.
Mm.
She does that really, really well. Like it's a really genuinely charming and funny, but like it's great. And she's like she really was stood out in this. She's very impressive, very, very impressive with this. And this first episode is great. Like I don't spoil it what the reason and why or what the context of how her well let's just say her skill set is applied and why it applied. But they make it work in the context of thing. And then what makes this so far what makes this season clever is they do the concept of truth and lying because remember that was Natasha Leon's character's her name, her power, her, effectively a superpower, right? She can
Yeah,
tell if you're lying.
yeah. She have like this bullshit meter. I think that's what she calls it,
Right.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it's basically a more or less almost flawless lie detection. But
Mm-hmm.
what they do very cleverly is they figure out a ways to put her in situations where, well, truth is not as straightforward as that, right? It's not some straight life lie, truth lie scenario. You could have scenarios where something could be for lack of a better term, false, and in that context, it's true. Or how they say it or how they frame the statement could also still be true technically, right? And so the person either lied, they're operating by deception, or they don't think they're lying. Right, the person could be themselves be deluded, and or right, you mix it up, and you get out with the second episode really well. With yeah, Giancarlo Esposito, he plays the villain, and what they
Oh,
do with that
okay.
is
He
great.
in that. Oh, he's in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
season
yeah.
two. All right, all right.
Yeah. He plays a villain in the episode, but what they do with it is very clever and simple, and again, the context of what he does. I'm thinking, Katie Holmes in this. I was like, oh shit, neither Katie Holmes would. I see
Wow,
she now.
I've not seen her in ages, but wow.
I
Huh.
have not. off the top of my head, I can't remember seeing her since the first Batman movie. Dread. Like I couldn't remember Batman
Same,
Begins.
same, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sure she acted in a bunch of movies before, but I don't have no working memory of her seeing her in anything since that. So yeah, but she was actually pretty good in this. What to do with her? What is going on with her? All I'll just need to know is that it involved. They do the very clever layered thing, and that is another common theme with it. It plays with a lot of like layered conceits of storytelling. Like let me just say that. So it does that in the first episode. It does that some in the second episode, and then the third episode is just a nice. Not quick mention. It resolves the plot line involved from season one. So
Okay,
that's all
I was
it does.
wondering if they were gonna do that pretty early, or
Right.
if they were gonna stretch it out to the end of the season.
Effectively they resolve the plot line and what they do with it is great. This who's he oh shit, what's this man name by famous comedian by oh gosh. Spider Pig. Peter Porker. Who's the voice actor?
Uh,
No man right.
can't remember right now.
Uh that's all.
Yeah.
John Mulaney.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
Yeah, he plays an FBI agent relevant to the plot line and how they Spider Ham. Um he plays that really well. He plays. I didn't expect to see him in it, but he's great in this. And what they do with it is very really funny. How they resolve the plot line because what they do with it, there's a murder, but it's a murder by kind of off intention, kind of cleverness, and why and how it happens is plays out really well. And I so far I really, really thoroughly enjoy these first three episodes. Really, again, charming, really funny, really makes it work, and they bounce off each other really well. And yeah, there's top tier talent coming in and doing the job and doing the writing. And yeah, they make it work. I didn't expect to enjoy this so far, but yeah, so far this is excellent. Yeah, if the rest of the season continues on this level of quality, yeah, there's going to be updated in a possible top 10. So yeah, I dug the hell out
Nice.
of this.
All
So
right,
it's
all
solid
right.
so far.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to check them out, man. Well, in my case, I'm just gonna wait until the full season ends, and then we'll do like a full review of it, right? But yeah, judging from your review here, I'm excited. I have a feeling I'm really gonna enjoy the season here, right?
Yeah.
So sticking with TV a little bit longer now. Let's talk about the fourth season, or I should say, volume 4 of Love, Death, and Robots, right? Courtesy of
Oh,
Netflix, right? What I would say about this show, right? And it's really interesting that we got this show here, this season here, in the same year that we got the new season of Black Mirror, right? Which we spoke
right.
about in our debut of It's a Wrap, right? But this show is pretty. It's it's in a pretty weird and interesting place right now, right?
Yeah.
Where because of the if you do like if you like look up the history of the show, right? It's founded, pretty much created by both David Fincher and oh gosh, the guy who did Terminator Dark Fate, Tim Miller, right? Yeah. So
Right, 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 right,
like initially they wanted to do this heavy metal reboot, right? And I
right.
mean, as somebody who really appreciates the original film, I never saw the sequel. I don't really care to be honest, right? Yeah, it's been a long, like we've been, like it's high time that we get like a reboot or a remake of that show, right, in movie form, right? But because that did not play out the way both guys wanted to, they just decided, here's what, we're just gonna do this as a series, right? And the end result is this
Yeah.
show, right? But
I mean, to be fair, I think heavy metal was because heavy metal was only impressive because of the technical aspect of it. Like, I'm not sure how many people like super interested in that world on its own as a conceit or anything like that. It was just, oh no, the art and the animation ability is so great. That's why it sells it. But like, anybody give a shit about heavy metal for real? Like, it was unclear.
no.
That's why that's really. Yeah, that's why like I'm not super like, oh, we will miss out on a heavy metal reboot. Like, they don't need to. Like,
Yeah.
especially given one person who like seriously give this all well we will get to it, but give this dude a fucking budget because holy shit, that was a mess. That was amazing, right? One of these couple episodes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like it's just kind of a weird space to put in, um, like as a reboot. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
we don't need it. Yeah,
True. It is admittedly a product of the 80s, especially early 80s. So, I mean, it is what it is. I love it as a cult classic, but it's not like one of my favorite movies, right? But yeah, point is, when it comes to a show like this, right? And then if you were to compare it to Black Mirror, right? And it's so funny
right,
because they both on Netflix, right? This show, right, as in Love, Death, and Robots, does not even play out like your average anthology show, right? I mean, yes, you are
right.
getting different stories, again, different, art styles and, conceits and whatnot, right? But the thing is, I really noticed it with this season, yeah. Um, it feels intentionally and unintentionally inconsistent, right? In the sense that like with Black Mirror, right? It's Charlie Brooker all the way, right? When it comes to all these stories, right?
Right.
When it comes to the tone, when it comes to the vibe of it, right? This one, it will shift tones, it will shift styles, and when you like read the end credits, you realize, oh, it's based off of short stories from these people, or like one or two people, So
Right.
that kind of adds to the unconventional style of it, and there's the unpredictability of it all, right? So in other words, it feels like every time you jump into an episode, you just really, really don't know what you're gonna get next, right?
Yeah,
That and
I
that
just look at
adds to the
this
vibe of the show.
exactly. I just treat the show as basically just a well organized sizzlery. Like
Exactly. That's
it's
the
not
next thing too.
it,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
its intention is not has never really been, oh, I want to see the final product of this. It's just, look, somebody had like a kind of demo they show in the public. You're not going to show some studio, and it's just, oh, this could easily become a illumination film or DreamWorks film or something like that, or just like a cutscene from some video game or something like that. Almost all of
Exactly.
them is that.
Yeah.
However, a couple of the people stand out and do something truly fantastic
Yes, man.
and like
Yeah.
really blow you away. I'm gonna spoil it already. There's one person, Robert Valley. That boy cooks. That's all I'll say. Right? We'll get to
I
that.
wonder if I know
That's,
what it is, but we'll get to that, right?
I
But
you
yeah.
you know what it is
All right, all right.
because
So yeah.
yeah, no,
So last point I'll make, right? So what I will say, right? And I've seen this also too to diehard fans, right? This particular season really does feel like it is a showcase of the talent, right? Of the animation teams involved, right? So I could see like some casual viewers kind of looking at the season like, yeah, it's kind of
yeah,
all over the place now,
the weakest ones just kind of fall into the conceit of, look, a new person doing this. That's why I don't really like fight down for it to be super original or anything like that, because it's clearly young new people doing this, right? It's not like it's not super fresh ideas, or when it's somebody doing something, it's clearly like a product. Like the first one, like just get like you get into it now. The first one is just a music video, right?
It is,
It
yes,
looks,
yes,
I think it
yes.
looks great. I think it looks great, but
Agreed.
this is something that this is something I could have seen being on MTV. 20, well, not 20, like say, we all know, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, probably. And just
Yeah.
being on MTV as just, oh, Red Hot Chili Peppers put out a video, and this is what the video looks like. And it could be like a promotion for, what's the name of that show, boy? Remember Celebrity Deathmatch?
All
Like,
right. Yes. Yeah.
like they could totally remix Celebrity Deathmatch with this style animation.
Yeah.
That.
So
Bit of that, right? It's
you're
just,
right. Like it doesn't have to be like the claymation style of the original, but it
right,
could be the marionette style that we see here, right? And yeah,
right, exactly,
for what it is, and I should also mention this is directed by David Fincher. Like when I saw his
right,
name in the end credits, I was like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? But yeah,
right,
this is just basically the band performing one of the famous songs, "Can't Stop," right? Now, I would
right,
confess, I'm not versed in all things Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think for
right.
me and for many millennials,
It's only
we
one
we
song.
kind of attached to them when we heard Scar Tissue. Like when we heard that song,
It's
I
only
was like,
one
yeah,
song.
that song is the shit. Yeah,
No, it's only
yeah.
one song that I will remember off the top of my head is Californication.
Yes,
That's
and
it.
well, which is off the album California.
That's it.
Yeah, that song Californication
And
also
the
both in
video,
our box.
I remember the video for that being pretty cool. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, this
and
is
just the
interesting.
vibe
And
of those two
clearly
songs
great.
are greater. But yeah, I need to
Yeah,
sit down and listen to
exactly.
that record, right? But funny thing
Right.
is, with that song "Can't Stop," when I heard the hook, that "Can't Stop," I was
Right.
like, where hear the song from?
Yeah,
So
we know the song.
wait
That
for
was
it.
a popular song. Right.
Wait for
Yeah.
it. Let me tell you when the last time I heard the song, right? In the first trailer for Expendables 4. They did the
Right. Yeah.
action
It
trailer
uses all.
thing for it, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh lord.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
they use it. They use it all over the place. So it's a
yeah,
popular song. When I heard it, it's like, cool. And then when I watched it, I was like, again, visually it looks great.
it
Like I
does,
love it.
yes.
Like it looks at your shadows and light and how they make it bounce around and okay, cool.
Yeah.
But it's a music video.
It
That's what it
is.
is.
Yeah, and the final
It does
shot
what
where
roughly.
and the final shot where you're seeing like everybody that is in the
Right.
audience and on stage on
Yeah, agree.
marionette strings. Perfect. I love that, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, I could
yeah.
see some people watching this like this is some like oh it's like oh like this is where you're wasting my time with for 6 minutes, dude. Like come on, man. Like I could like go on YouTube and watch this, right? But the point is
Again,
it's
if
about
it
the
is
style. That's what it is.
this something that could be this something could be again. This could something could be easily number 4 on TRL.
Yes, for real.
That's 25 years ago. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is. Like it.
But other than that,
That's a music.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for
I
what
dug
it
it too.
was. But I
Yeah,
could see some
yeah, I
people
dug
kind
it.
of watch this like, wait, love, death, and robots. Why watching a concert? Why watching a music video, bro? Like, what is this? But
Right.
that's what I was saying. That like when the more I think about it, that's the approach that yeah, the show has been going with, right, where it's like we're not even gonna follow the rules of our anthology series. We're just gonna do what we want, but at the same time, it's
Right.
about promoting our studio. And I think yeah, Blur Studios, these are the main
Right.
people who work on the show, right? I have to find out if it's Tim Miller's or Fincher's company. I'm not too sure. I should find
Right.
out, right? But yeah, Blur is front and center with this, and I thought that they did a great job with this one here, right? But yeah, any thoughts on the Can't Stop episode?
Oh no, yeah, yeah. As I said, really, really solid. It's a music video. It looks great. It's a lot of fun, and I dug it for what it was. Again, visually very impressive. Like if you want to make a final product of it, I could imagine remaking Celebrity Deathmatch with less strings. Right? That's it.
Yeah,
It looked good. Right.
right.
Hmm.
Close Encounters of the Mini Kind. That's the next one. I'll
Right.
keep it short and sweet. Haha, short and sweet, right? Um, I always kind of dug the first one. I forgot what it was. I think it's Night of the Mini Dead or some kind of thing like that, right?
Right.
Where
Right.
it's
Right. Right.
basically taking the sandbox thing, but you're basically doing like GTA 3, but you're just going wild and crazy and doing an alien invasion story over it, right? So I just
Right.
find it kind of hilarious how far they take the violence and the humor. It's very, very, very crass, right? But yeah, the whole idea of aliens coming down, attacking, humans attacking, but because of the way how the story is framed, right? Yes, it's a bunch of like miniature people running around going, yeah, let's kill these motherfuckers. And that's a joke, right? And just seeing everything from a top down view. Again, like I said, like a sandbox ring, right? A sandbox game, right? Um, but yeah, where they went with it is ridiculous and dumb and
Right.
stupid, but that's the point of it, right? How it ends had me cracking up though, where basically, slight spoiler, they acquire the alien weapons and they didn't know how to use it properly, so they get a whole set hit, and then they end up like, yeah, causing more harm than good. I thought that was a really interesting way to end that, right? But yeah, again, I could see some
It's
people watch this like, this is annoying, this is stupid, was the point. But
right.
that's
It's
what it's crazy, wild, dumb shit, but that's the point. That's the point. But
Yeah,
I
no,
like it. I
it's
like it.
totally it's totally it's an illumination thing because it sounds like Minions, right? It's straight up something that you feel, and it's had that style of humor, except it's a lot more X-rated. Like in the beginning, it's like one guy is going to have sex with a cow. Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like little stuff like that. Yeah,
What was
yeah. In
that?
the beginning, I guess it's stuff like that. It's that kind of crass humor that if it is whether or not it makes it work or not, I chuckled. Like it was fine. But yeah, it's straight up just feel like Minions.
Mhm.
Totally feel like Minions. That same you have to kind of piece together what they're saying by tone and intention. But they're yelling in this, vague, really sure Italian, Spanish, or something like that. High pitched voice stuff. That could get annoying if it don't. They're funny enough, and I thought it worked. It's fine. It's like fine.
Yeah, and also just
Yeah.
reading off of Wikipedia here, shout out to Buck, that's the studio that worked on it, right? I could
Right.
tell like they probably have like a video game background, right? That's the way how
Right.
the story itself flows and how again that's how it looks too. It has again a sandbox style to it, right? So yeah, I feel like they probably work on video games or something like that. I should look that up, right? Up next we have Spider Rose. This was
Right.
one where yes, visually I thought it looked brilliant, right? But the story, and it's a good thing that it ran for 50 minutes, right? It took a while for me to get into, to be honest, right? Because trying to pick up what was going on. Basically, you have this one chick who is all alone, and she's kind of like powering this kind of structure that looks like a spider web.
Right.
This
Right.
alien meets her, and she's basically trying to barter to get weapons from him to attack the people who kill her husband. But then they say, here's what, well, we have this like baby alien thing, and we want you to take care of it for 96 days. And then afterward, you'll come back with
Right.
it. And if you take care of it, yeah, we'll give it, right? And I like where the story was going and going, where the story was progressing, right? And then the climax happened. The bad guy come. Badass stuff happened. I actually like how they got rid of the bad guy. That's also without spoiling anything. The end catch me by well, I shouldn't say catch me by surprise, right? I was like, I
Well,
know that
yeah.
the aliens had a plan, but I didn't see
Right.
it play out like that. So when it happens, like, oh, okay. And that was that. So yeah, I was at the end of the day, yes, I was more into the look of it more than the story. But I will say the story, I had a surprising amount of heart though. I didn't expect it to be like that
Right.
because from the setup, I thought it was just going to be all dark and grim. But yeah, when you see Spider Rose, I think that's the character's name, with that baby
Yeah.
alien, yeah, that's where you get the heart of it, right? But yeah, the ending is ironic, and I mean, it's Love, Death, and Robots, so it kind of makes sense. But I
Right.
wasn't wowed by
No,
it ultimately.
they set up a piece of information. So, like, slight spoiler. So, this the creature basically absorbs DNA.
Oh,
So
that's
when you
what it does.
saw,
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, at the end, what happened with she's kind of still alive in a sense. What they do again, I'll spoil the ending a little bit, but uh, yeah, that is what it was. So like, okay, that was the intention to get the information. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I thought it was this was okay. Again, this is one of those extended video game cutscenes, right? Like it's one of those, right?
Yeah, it
It's
really
good.
does look like a
It,
video
it,
game. I swear to God, it
yeah,
really does. Yeah.
technically very impressive. I'm not taken anywhere from that. It looked great, action great, all this kind of stuff. But it's like, yeah, this could be like, I don't know, StarCraft 12 or whatever it is, right? Like it's one of those. It's feel like that.
StarCraft 12.
Uh, but you get my point. You
Yeah,
get what I'm trying to say. Though. Like
it
it's
is.
one of those,
It's
right?
within that vein. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so it's good. Like it's very good, but it doesn't feel like unique or interesting. It just feels like, okay, I've seen this before. At least conceptually, I've seen this before. You know, say it not outside. I'll say it's not outside of the bingo book now. In my humble opinion, but again, not bad, pretty good. Dug it for it was. Again, very talented people involved. You look, if you could come and work for me, that'll be great, right? But
I
yeah, it's
know,
that.
right?
Um, yeah, but it's that. It's really, really solid stuff. And I dug the hell out of this one too. It's good. It's a
Right.
pretty good thing. It had an interesting story. I want to see what they're going to do with it. If the person could go forward for other material or whatever it is. If they make a season 5 of the show, they'll do it again.
Right.
But it is the extended video game cutscene. It's that. Right?
Yeah.
It's just well made. You're watching a movie. It's fine.
Yeah, and this is also from Blur, by the way, right? So yeah, we both had to keep our eyes on Blur and what they up to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So up next, in my opinion, is the best one by 400
I
Boys. Jet.
I,
I
I,
was
I
like,
agree.
I
I
fucks with
agree as
this. I
well.
fucks with this. I'll
Yeah.
here the thing, while I review this quick, right? While I was watching this, I was like, I wonder what Ricardo could think about this shit. Like
Right. So it's
halfway
the
through,
same
she was
thing.
like, I would say off that art style alone, I was like,
Yes. Well,
this is up your alley, Jet. This is right up your
no,
alley.
it's straight up. Yeah, straight up. Well, it's the same guy who made Zima Blue. And well, I mentioned him
Right,
earlier.
yes, from
Yeah.
season one, which we
Yeah.
loved. Yes.
Yeah, the same guy who made Season Blue. He what's his guy named Robert Valley. I mentioned him. Yeah, this was great. This is like, wait, this boy, it's the Warriors meets Attack on Titan. Like,
All right,
what the fuck is
here's
this?
what I was thinking. It was Warriors. I was thinking attack the block us. And then when I see John
Attack the Block,
Boyega
right? Yes,
name, I
yes,
was like,
very, very
what?
Attack the Block. Yes,
John
yes, Attack
Boyega,
the Block,
this
very
was
attack.
you. John Boyega talking. I was like, I should have known it.
Yeah,
When I hear
yeah,
that that sort of Eastern London accent, I was like, I should have
yeah,
known it
yeah,
was
yeah,
you, right?
yeah.
When I
Right.
see Ed
Yeah,
screen naming it, I was like, Huss, well, of course,
yeah,
you with this, right? That grimy
right.
ass voice, right? But yeah, that
And then
story was fantastic, Jed.
yeah, and then I immediately picked up on the like very obvious film references as well. Like it's straight up City of God. What are the shots? One of the shots is straight up from City of God. That early shot with the gun. I'm like,
Oh
oh shit, this
yes,
one.
you're right.
Like, oh
Yes,
shit, this one is straight up City of God. But that was hard.
yeah.
And then so I thought it was going to go in this direction, but it didn't do that. I thought we'd have something involved with a solar typewriter at some point, right? If we get
Uh-huh.
a reference.
Mm.
Right, so it's that. But yeah, I this again agree with you. This is the best one. I well, my favorite at least.
Yeah.
I dug the hell out of this. It's nice and weird. It's
Yes.
the gangs coming together, but have that weird art style. He did I forget what he did before this. It wasn't Zima Blue. It was something before Zima. In season 3, I think.
Okay, I had to look that up though. But yeah, I need
One where
to.
they went up. The one where they went up planets and they went up planet where it was like a colony and they had to do a couple things, but they had like a bunch of like manipulations of their body as well. It's off the top of my head, I can't remember. Whatever.
It sounds
But
familiar. It
look,
sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah. I
it
should
have
look
that
it up.
same, it have that same everything looking italic in the world look
Hmm.
now. Like
Yeah,
everybody bent to one side kind of thing. But yeah, I dug the hell out of this. It looked
yeah.
great. Visually also it reminded me of there's a YouTube creator I follow. I like his stuff. What's this guy's name, boy? It have a guy called James Lee. Look up this dude. When you see when you see his animation and his style, it's straight up. You'll immediately know what I'm talking about because he looks like one of the characters in this. Right, that you'll need to do that. That is all you need to do. Look up a guy called James Lee. James Lee animation.
Right.
If you see that, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But yeah, it's that. This is my personal favorite as well.
Yeah.
This really works.
I love this too, man. Yeah.
Robert Valley is always cook, as you
Yeah.
say. So he's always cook. He's always bringing stuff. He working in the industry for 30 plus years now.
Okay.
He's a older. He around a long time. Like
Yeah.
the man, and he's not upstart, but he did. Like he's one of those guys who once they get him the money and the space and the time, they will give us something truly amazing. Like he's one of those guys, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a like really fantastic animator. Like I always look out for him. And when I heard he was gonna be in this season, like all right, I'll go look out for Waiters. And when I saw Waiters, when I saw the episode open, like yep, this is his.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I could just say a couple things quickly, right? So for one thing, right? Boy, like this is the kind of shit that when I see, I'm like, this is the power of visual storytelling. This is the kind of stuff that I
Yeah,
want to do, right? It doesn't have to be in live action, but I would love if it would be in animation somehow, right? But just
right.
like the color palette, to just the art style, the just everything from start to end, do I absolutely love, right? What blew my mind even more too, not just the story and all that and how it look, right, was the music, Jed. Guy hearing this
Yeah,
jazz beat coming, and then near the end, slight spoiler, some drums come in, Jed, and I was
yeah.
like, all right,
Well,
yep, yep,
yeah, yeah.
yep, yep. This is bullshit. This is bullshit, right? So yeah, shout out to Passion Animation Studio. I'm gonna be looking out for you guys' work too. I had to like
Yeah.
I don't know scour through YouTube and just find demos of what you guys did, Dre. But
Oh no,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
this was
I
amazing. I love this.
yeah, I did just follow Robert Valley's career. Like I follow his career. Like how anytime I hear he on something, I'm like, yep, we gonna get some hard. So yeah, not bad at all. Really fantastic stuff. I loved it.
Yeah. So up next now we get something a little hilarious now called the other large thing, right? Concept
Right,
wise, this is nothing new. It basically is like this Persian cat who
right.
has very pinky, sorry, brain, like
Yeah,
if you remember Pinky the Brain kind of
like
thing, yeah, of
yeah,
world domination.
megalomaniacal.
Yeah, and he somehow runs into this robot who is voiced by John Oliver of all people do.
Okay,
I was like,
right,
what? Like
right.
you in this too?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
And how they bounce off each other was pretty cool. This basically how the
Right.
cat uses the robot to kick off his master plan. I love that. I
Right.
love how he is talking in this grandiose kind of way, but then when you're hearing humans, they talking a gibberish, like they talk literally in
Yeah,
gibberish. I
yeah,
thought
that
that's
makes sense.
funny.
And yeah, only the robot could make sense of both. Yeah, that's funny.
Yes, yes,
Right.
exactly. And just visually, it looked really solid, right? And I was digging the dark humor, right? It's
Yeah.
very. If you remember a movie from the 2000s called Cats and Dogs, I only saw that once, but I actually
Right.
remember really
Right.
liking it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
Yeah.
is taking like your average, house pet and making them some kind of big superhero villain or whatever it is. That's what they
Right.
do,
That's
right?
all.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
is the picking the brain formula that they do here, right? What let me down though was the end, Dread. It was kind of on the
Yeah. That's
anticlimactic side of things. Just sort of
right.
reach a point, and the well, sorry, well, slight spoiler. Yeah, the stinger at the end is just, oh, this is the cat's name, because there's a joke where he says,
Right.
oh, this is the names that my
Right.
these humans give me. That's not my real name. And then when he gives it, it's
Right.
like, all right, that's a joke.
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
This is
ending kind of fell flat, but I was liking it, even though it didn't feel really original or fresh to me. I was digging it. It was a nice change of pace from the
it's
grimy
another
shit we got with 400 Boys.
it's another um DreamWorks slash probably also Illumination type movie. It's one of those, right? Again, you could see something like this becoming a movie in a few years, by DreamWorks or Illumination or whoever. It's just a funny bit. You play with it. I think remember Secret Life of Pets? It's kind of like that.
Yeah, still haven't seen
Yeah, a
that.
little bit.
Shame on me, I know. 'Cause I heard it really good.
I saw the first one. I saw the first one. I remember kind of enjoying it. I think what happened with it is that it's because of Louis C.K.'s career kind of take the backslide because of his stuff, and I think that was it. The second one was it kind of fell flat. I don't remember seeing the second one, but I remember like kind of liking the first one. It was funny enough. Like all right, fine. I'm saying is that it didn't bother me too much for what it was trying to do or say. But yeah, just that's it. I don't really have any big issues one way or the other. But yeah, this was in and out for me. I didn't super love this or anything like that. It's just like yeah, it's a episode thing, right? As I say, Pinky and the Brain, the
Yeah,
megalomaniacal, small creature that plays with the conceit of, oh, he's this, but he's a cat. Right, funny. And yeah, again, perfect for kids, like, a younger audience will totally eat this up. So I
yeah,
can see a thing, but that's fine. Again, technically, very good. It's the kind of stuff you put out, and don't try to super impress, cynical nerds like me. You go for your audience and you aim for that, and that's what it did, and we got that.
yeah.
Again, I can see this being fleshed out for a whole, 90 minutes, and that's your movie in and out.
Right. So a couple things, right? Megalomaniac, right? Yeah, it's easy when I say megalomaniac, right? When you say megalomaniacal or maniacal, that's kind of hard to say, right? So whatever.
Well, let's practice. Let's
Yeah.
practice your speech. You can just practice speech for time. I had to do public speaking for something, so that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing about this one and the final episode, right, is that it has a sort of a kids niche kind of audience kind of vibe to it, but there's still some edgy content
Yeah.
in it, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some in this case, it has some little
Well,
PG-13
the
stuff.
last
Let's
one,
say, oh there,
the last one where they went with it was kind of strange, but I could see it play into our audience that it's a weird kid audience now. Not you're
uh,
not meant to be thing, but they play with it in an
like a
interesting.
Coraline or something like that.
Right,
Coraline, yeah.
right. I was exactly thinking of something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So up next we have Golgotha, right? And
Right.
funny thing is, while I was watching this, right, first 30 seconds, I was like, "Is this animated?" And then I had to like
It looked
stop like
very
a
good
minute
too.
into the show. I was like,
Yeah.
"I
It
don't know."
it looked real good.
But here's the thing.
No, it looked real good.
All right. Here's the thing. At a point in time, I was watching the face. I was like, "All right, it looking real, but watching everything, and it looked like like nearly realer." But I went on Google. Well, I actually went on Reddit, and I don't know if this is true. You could tell me if I'm wrong, right? Some people say that this is apparently this is one of currently in the show so far, two live action entries in the show itself. So what we're
Okay.
seeing here more than likely is live action. When it involves aliens, so when the aliens come in, that's the animated bit, I guess. If
I mean,
that's not the
here's
case
the
and
thing.
everything that I see here is pure VFX, that is
No, but
amazing.
you see, we living in that weird space where it don't really matter at this point. Like because the line's so heavily blurred, and you can kind of play with both. Once you spend the money on it, once you decide to spend the money on it and make the effort to make it blend, yeah, it does look good. Like for what it was though, I was very impressed with it. If it was meant to be an end point, like that would have been really fascinating for what it was.
Mm,
Um, so that's why I wasn't like super blown away by it as a thing, but I was like watching it and thinking, what, this must be entirely CG again. 10 years ago I'd have been totally blown away, but like what we see in the last 10 years, like all right, I
yeah.
mean, it's not that, not that
And
thing, it's
admittedly,
not
there was
that.
a point while I was watching this, I was like, well, then if what we're seeing here is entirely CG, right? And to make matters even worse, is all like exterior shots and everything like that, right? It's like, why would you go through all that trouble to do that though? You know, because like
Exactly.
the actors, the performers all look realer, but they're like, all
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
well, yeah. So why CG everything though? You know what I mean? Like when you just
Yeah.
CG the backgrounds, because I was watching, for example, because yeah, it involves this priest, or I should say this
Yeah.
this cat an alien equivalent of a Catholic priest coming down
Right.
to meet with a human
Our
priest,
part,
yeah, Catholic
our
priest,
human
right?
right, our
Yeah.
piece, right. Yeah, exactly.
I was just there like watching it like, all right, well, yeah, like okay, like there were points where I was watching the backgrounds, like in particular, it takes place on a beach. I was watching the ocean. I was like, is that
Yeah,
real?
you
Like the
can't tell.
ocean look
It look
kinda,
like film.
it looked
It look
kinda,
like they just film it.
yeah,
Yeah, it look real.
it
And
looked
then
real. That's the thing, but I wasn't
yeah,
sure if it was true or not, right? But yeah, I just sort of stopped it and say, you know what, let me just focus on the story, right? And the
I
story is okay.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
I'll
it's
put it
cool.
like this, right, without spoiling too much, right? It is this story feels very much, believe it or not, like a Twilight Zone episode, like a
Right,
OG Twilight Zone
right,
episode, where
right.
it's giving
Exactly.
you this kind of weird conceit, right? But it's touching on something real, which is about religion and faith and all that kind of stuff, right? But the
Right,
ending is so pitch black and ironic, and it just feels like this existential joke that you're being given, right? Like, ha, get it?
right,
That's a joke, right? People gonna
right.
die,
Exactly.
but it's all because of belief, right? And faith. That's a joke. Ha, get it? And it's all for something really weird. So I just watch like, okay, yeah, I get it. It has that
Right.
sort of Rod Serling, sort of pitch black humor to it. But
Exactly.
it just feels kind of dated by now, to be honest. But I get the joke. I get the joke. I saw like, that's kind of funny. Alright, okay. But I wouldn't lie, as a wrap up here, the last line given, that was a great punchline. That's a great like full stop
Yeah.
to everything. That
Right.
was pretty cool. But again, kind of a dated joke on religion though, but it's just the
Little
absurdity
bit.
of it
Yeah.
all. I guess that's the point. Whatever, you know.
Right.
But yeah, any thoughts on Golgotha?
Yeah, yeah. I dug it for it was again. I was just watching and thinking again. Technically, very impressive. Not knocking it, but again, I would have been much more impressive if this was like 10 years ago. But yeah, it's fine. I dug the conceit for it. I get what he was going for, and it's funny enough. As I say, slightly outdated as a conceit, but it works. It's good enough. Like I dug it for what we're trying to do and see, and yeah, it was in and out for me. So that's about it.
Right. So speaking of video games, the screaming of the Tyrannosaur,
Right.
yeah, Tyrannosaur. Sorry, yeah, that is a straight up video game story,
Yeah.
like a series
This
of cutscenes put together.
I think Mr. Beast was the guy in this. I think Mr. Beast was
Yes,
in this.
yeah,
Like, all right.
Mr.
Oh,
Beast was the one who
it's not
plays,
like
yeah, yeah. Basically, what it is like basically like this galactic gladiator thing. So he's like the
right,
host, and speaking of gladiator, he even does the "we who are about to die," you who are about to die. Sorry,
right.
yeah, you who are about to die. We salute you. That's what he says, right? But yeah,
Yeah, so it's
yeah,
the future of these games, effectively.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Ultimately,
yeah.
yeah,
But visually it looks great though. The
oh,
action
great,
scenes
yeah,
are cool. What was really
hmm
interesting too, they get McGill Biling to voice
right,
the protagonist, and they actually had us speak Mandarin throughout the entirety of this.
right,
So like,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah,
okay. But but again, it feels like you're watching a video game, right? Because like if you play the game or if you got more of the cutscenes or whatever, you got enough full backstory in it. It just sort of throws you into it and gives you like little like little visual cues as to what really going on and why. There's this aristocracy thing going on here, and there's basically the audience who's watching this now, and like what they're there for is all sorts of fucked up. That's all I'll say. Kind of
right,
don't make
yeah, exactly,
sense, but that's the point. It's just supposed to be like, oh, they're sort of gorging off of people's suffering. That's basically what it is, right? So
right,
it's kind of weird, right? And then when the T Rex does show up, because yeah, I was watching, it's like, yeah, when the T Rex it shows up and it does this thing, you know. But I just felt like, honestly, as I wrap up my review here, it felt more style over substance. Like, all right, like I get what they're getting at with, it's all about survive or die, and you're riding these dinosaurs. Also, while I was watching this, I was thinking about a little show from back in my childhood called Dino Riders. I was like, hey, if we
right,
do our Dino Riders reboot, make it look like this, now, please. You know what I mean?
right,
But yeah, it's kind of scant on characterization, even though it runs for like 50 minutes. You know what I mean? And it is on the cliche side of things. There's even like a couple of slow mo moments, like one moment where the hero jumps into the air and leaps towards a bad guy. I was like, yeah, that's like Zack Snyder 300 shit right there.
right,
Like, you know
right, right,
what
right,
I
right.
mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's more style over substance. I'll just say this much as slight spoiler. There's this motif, this running motif about wolves, like like a
right,
pack of wolves basically. I felt they could explore that more, especially in the end, because there's like
right,
a bit of dialogue near the end now. And I felt like no, scrap that, connect it back to the wolves. Like that would make much more sense. Why you giving me this other like metaphor for it? No, like go back to the wolves now. You know what I mean? But the other than
right,
that, it looked great, stylish as hell. You know me, I like my style, but wouldn't mind a little substance into it too. But I guess it's just all about economical storytelling. I guess so. I
right.
guess the characters had to be sacrificed because they had to give us badass action scenes. I guess so. It was what it was. I didn't love it, didn't hate it, but it was alright. But yeah, any thoughts on
Yeah,
this one here?
yeah. No, yeah. This one was it was again, technically very impressive. Again, a video game cutscene. It looked good. Didn't love it, but it looked good enough. Can't say I was super into it as it was, but it was like okay, I get what they're going for, and it's fine. Yeah, that is it.
Yeah. So up next we have How Zeke Got Religion. This is
Right.
another favorite of mine.
This
And
one is a big standout to me as well.
yes, and speaking of heavy metal, the moment that the story was introduced, where you were in this B-52 in World War II with these pilots now, and they are faced with this threat. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, that is literally from Heavy Metal, the movie. There's this
yeah,
one involving like these gremlins, or it is like attacking the plane, or no, I don't think it's either gremlins or like the ship itself crash or something
yeah.
like that. I can't remember. Yeah.
It remind me a little bit of oh gosh, is that a movie with Chloe? Gosh, her name, and it had like a creature. She had a flying creature. Shadow in the Cloud. Yeah, that's it. Look at it.
Oh, Shadow in the Cloud. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Shadow in the Cloud. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Yeah. For me, I love, I should say, that art style.
yeah,
It's 3D, but it's meant to look 2D. I like that. I love the sort of comic book style. Similar to 400
yeah, yeah,
Boys. Just that color palette, dude. Just the warm
yeah.
colors. I really love. I
But
like that.
I I was just blown away by the animation. Just like,
Yes,
oh, like just when the threat, we don't want to spoil what it is. When it shows up and it starts doing what it has to do, it like that get real wild, dude.
it
Like it, and then
is.
how it was destroyed and defeated and all of that. That was just really
Oh,
impressive.
those
Loving all
those
that art
moments,
style.
right, where basically
Yeah,
is
it
this
looked great.
demon attacking this B-52, right? Those moments
Right.
had me on edge, right, because of how
Yeah, it looked
it was
great.
attacking them and how they was trying to survive, right? But the point of the title is that there's this one black guy by the name of Zeke who is established early on to just be, yeah, just a
Right.
flat
And
out
skeptic.
atheist, right? But
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
but
Yeah, the skeptic
yeah, very
atheist
very
kind of thing. Right?
skeptic when it comes to religion, right? And they trying to bomb this church where this Nazi like cult guy is doing all these
Yeah,
like just
yeah.
weird shit.
They play into that whole Nazi occult stuff
Yes,
well.
yeah,
It's very Hellboy, that stuff.
right,
Um,
Hellboy. Yes, I was saying.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you're right. Yes. I
it
should talk
plays,
about
it
that.
plays with that.
Yeah,
That's a common, yeah, very, very popular common trope, right? That's the idea of, oh, the Nazis unlock some bullshit, something
yeah,
that some hell, whatever it is, and they try to start tighten, try to tap into that power. Is that right?
yeah.
But what they do is great, and then it's not really a demon; it's more like a fallen angel, because they play with the
Right.
whole biblical accurate angel premise, like that aspect of it, which
Mm,
is back and forth, not really necessarily true, but well, I ain't getting into that.
yeah.
But the point is, they play with that conceit, and then him as the skeptic now, he see it for real, and the only thing that stops the thing is not normal weapons or bullets, but effectively the power of the cross or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they play with that, and
Yeah.
it works. Like
It
it's just
does.
a
Yeah.
great conceit. They set it up. The violence of it is what make it work. If you
Yes,
survive
boy.
effectively.
It is
Um,
visceral as hell,
yeah,
Dread, but it
yeah.
works.
I
Eh?
didn't
It
expect it to
really
get
keeps you on the edge of
to
your
go
seat,
in.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
didn't expect it to get that violent, but it was
yeah,
like, okay,
boy.
this is real hard.
And a
It is
couple
they
things,
cook.
right? I really dug the anime style of it. Trick. I was watching.
Yeah,
It has like these sort of like anime like movements and stuff like that. I really think it works, right? And then when I realized who was involved, the studio involved, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, Titmos.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Titmos did this. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. This is on
Yeah,
some Castlevania Nocturne kind
yeah,
of shit. Like, especially with when that big action sequence takes place, right? And lastly,
yeah.
right, what I really admire the most though is that it didn't treat religion in this cynical kind of way, especially in the end though, 'cause I thought they would have ended it on a sort of a cynical way, like, oh, it's a good thing he didn't believe after all, but I like that it's left
No, no, no. They
open,
play,
where
they
it's like
play, they play.
he could believe or not, but it doesn't matter. The point is that he
Well,
now
to be
realizes
really,
that there's
you
something
have,
bigger than him. I love that. That's
like,
very
you have,
rational. I
you have
love that.
clear, you have clear evidence. Like all you mean.
Yes,
Like
yes,
yes,
exactly. It makes yeah. So I thought that was a
yeah.
really
So
like rational way to look
exactly
at religion.
right.
I have
Right.
no problem with that, right? But yeah, this is my second favorite. I absolutely love this. But yeah. Your thoughts on how Zeke got
Yeah,
into religion?
yeah, I dug the hell out of this. Again, it looked great. The viscerality of it is what is the cell, right? It's very to borrow from another like kind of modern concept of like religiosity but with violence. If you know the video game Blasphemous, it's like that. It reminds me of that a little bit.
Mm,
Besides that, they make it work, and this is another big standout over well number four 400 boys.
right. So two more to go, right? This is one that I know a lot of people not gonna like. Um, smart appliances, stupid owners. And here's the
Right,
thing for me, right? Like I dig it. Eh?
it's a bit, it's
I,
a
I,
bit,
I I dig it, but it's a bit. It feels like a
it's a bit.
SNL
Yeah,
skit, and I seen that it's
yeah.
so funny because the first person who does the voice, well, does comes through the voice, is Rigel Melissa Villaseñor, right? Who was in the
Right,
last
right, right, right.
season of SNL, but she's not on SNL anymore. I guess she things now. But as far as she on IG, I
Okay.
know she doing the whole comedy tour
Last
bit,
season,
but I know that she does voice acting. I was like, okay, all right.
okay. I thought she left before that, but
All right, I could be wrong, but I think she was
okay, no
in
problem.
the last season. If I could be wrong, right? But yeah,
No
it is a
problem, man.
bit mockumentary style. Like when it's like one bit being repeated, but it's just various items, household items. And yes, they throw a couple of crass jokes, like yeah, like the moment that they introduce the vibrator and the shower head is like, all right, yeah,
Vibrators,
yeah, yeah, you
the
know where you're
typical
gonna
stuff.
go. Yeah, especially with the
Right,
shower head, they let that joke run a
right,
little bit, like run its course. Like all right,
right,
yeah, okay, I get it, right. But I
right.
guess like all right, like it really does feel like a bit, but I would say animation wise, it looks solid. It really looks solid. Yeah, it has that illumination style to it and just the way how the mouths move and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's like it's a bit being repeated. It's like, oh, the joke is, oh my owners are stupid and they don't know how to use me. That's the joke. Ha ha ha. All
Right.
right, okay. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, but this was kind of forgettable. But I think like for me, what makes it work is the voice acting, and I'll say one last name I'll call it right. When I heard the name, I was like, wait, now you in this? But then again, because of his because he's been getting Netflix money too, I was like, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, Kevin Hart, he was in it too. Like
Right,
as soon as
right.
I hear the voice, like, oh yeah, you in this? All right, cool. But yeah, this is extended bit. This pretty much rinse and repeat. Well, rinse and repeat, right? Haha. Yeah, that was really it. But yeah, your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, yeah. I get it's a bit. It was kind of funny. It had a couple of okay jokes. That's about it. It didn't bother me one way or the other. Again, cause I'm not looking. You see, come into these things, I'm looking for it for uh yeah, the technical acumen of it, or just like a final product, or both, right? Like we get with episode 4 and then the last one. But this is like, alright, like none of the animation was super impressive or interesting, or they wasn't doing anything that was like blowing my away, or anything like that. It's like, alright, cool, that's fine. Uh, Pong for Pong, this is probably my least favorite of the bunch, because it don't do anything special, nor is it technical impression from a technical standpoint particularly impressive. So is that
Yeah, and I'm afraid to say this though. I can't believe I've seen this actually. Right? Ironically, this kind of feels out of place though, even though
right? A little bit, yeah.
it is technical, like mechanical items that we're seeing here, right? So you could say they are robots in a sense, right? But it kind of don't
Right,
even fit with the name of the show to begin with. So like, why is it there outside of just showcasing the talents of the studio involved, right? But yeah, last but not least, we have For He Can Creep, right? And
right,
this for me kind of sums up how this series has been going on so far, right? Where they will just put something at you, right? That is so out there, Dread, so strange, but you're kind of watching it though. Like you're still like glued to the screen. You're still kind of watching it, but at the same time, it's like yeah, where this come from though? You know what I mean? So yes, the
right.
story was just so out there, Jed. Something I've never seen before, right? Even though while I was watching this, I was kind of wondering if it's related to some sort of like myth or belief, right? Where in this case we in the 1800s in England, I think it is, and kind of involves Satan, manifesting himself as this very posh, bougie rich guy, right? Yeah, pretty much tormenting this mad in quotes poet or writer,
Right.
who's in this asylum and he wants him to write this poem talking about how great he is. But the poet have a cat, but the cat talks and then he has a
Yeah.
group. He has friends, like cat friends, but they have powers and they are able to pretty much like defeat Satan. Like they have their own specific powers, and also this
Right.
world
Well,
rats
they mentioned,
are
yeah, yeah,
minions of Satan. It's,
yeah.
it's
They
so
mentioned,
weird,
yeah,
boy. But I couldn't help but watch, boy, because of the art style. Just something about that art style just really roped me
yeah,
in. And just how they just kind of go out of the way to say, yeah, this is some weird shit, but we're gonna have fun with it. Even right down to the title cards. There's a moment where you see interlude. I was cracking up at that shit, and they just stop and just say boom, interlude, just like that, right? But yeah, hands down, this is one of the strangest episodes of Love, Death, and Robots I've ever seen, but I was entertained nonetheless too. But and as well, going back to what I said earlier, it is also based off a short story, right? All of them are based off of short stories, right? But yeah, this one just feels so distinct and unique from everything that I've seen, I would say before in this whole series, right? But again, I could see some people watch this and saying, the dog, Love, Death, and Robots. And I'll put it like this, right? It's kind of like how, like with Black Mirror, right? Usually, not all the time, but usually we always think with Black Mirror, it's always about sci-fi. It's always about, tech stuff and, dystopian stuff, right? And then you get something a little bit different, like, nah, this is not what I want. No, it's supposed to be dystopian shit. Like, what's this, right? This is how this episode feels like, right? Where like you're expecting it to be sci-fi or something dark, right? And it is darker, but it still has it still kind of skews young, because I don't think there's like really any objectionable content outside of like damn or like somebody say damn or whatever it is. And just the mere fact that Satan is in it kind of give it a little edge. But other than that,
right.
though, this is more kid friendly stuff, to be honest, though. Especially when it comes to the cats and the way how they talk and all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, though, for me, I don't know if you feel the same way, right? But yeah, this was weird, but in a good way. It's different, but good different. But yeah, I could see some people watch this like, yeah, why is this there? Why? I don't understand this, right? But it's different. And with a show like this that kind of don't care about following rules when it comes to anthology series anyway, I understand why it's in this show. But I guess for me, that's at the end of the day, this shouldn't have been the final episode. And I seen this as somebody who just sort of binge it from 1 to 10. I can see, you can make the argument, oh, you don't have to watch it like that, it's an anthology series for God's sake, right? But whatever, I ranking it from, from the first to the last one. I felt like personally, this shouldn't have been the last one. It should have found a much stronger story or episode to end it off. So just that and the previous one, yeah, just sort of it just sort of
I felt if
it just sort of
anything,
ended
I
things
felt if
on a
anything,
weak note in my opinion. And I'll stop there.
like, yeah, I felt if anything, the one with the archangel, the one with the fallen angel and the plane, that should have been the last one. I don't know,
Agree.
it's just a
Yeah,
more,
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, that's funny enough with it. Like again, it's more like in the vein of like a Coraline or something like that, where it's not it's a little edgy, just enough. It's clever enough. Like I can imagine us remaking this and don't explicitly cater to the devil or whatever it is. So it depends on how sensitive the audience. It don't really matter. But you get the point, right? Like it's just clever enough. I think they were they descendant from angels or something like that. The cats, so the cats could fight back, and they make the cats good guys and bad guys.
Yeah,
Like it
but
works. Like it's a
on
nice,
the subject of
funny
that,
enough.
no, I was now wondering if that's based off of some myth, the idea of
No,
cats
it's
being angelic or
yeah, it's a
something. I don't
general.
know.
Yeah, no, it's a general kind of general conceit about cats being magical or whatever it is. Like you could play with that, right? Like I don't know if it's like a raw mythology of it, but like the concept of it is like, yeah, okay, cats. Societies like cats for long, Egyptians like cats, blah blah blah. You play with that, right? So I'm glad they make its own mythology. You play with it and you run with it, and I think it mostly works. So what it was like good voice acting, the art, as I say, the art style looked great. It kind of not so much like it, but it kind of a little bit remind me of Flo that won the Oscar. Um,
Oh, right, which is funny because yeah, Flo with the cats, right? Yeah, well, Flo
right, exactly.
protagonist is a
Yeah,
cat, and yes, there was a
exactly.
moment where I was thinking Flo actually, while I was
Exactly
watching.
right. So it's that they play with that and they make it work. And I just again art style. That's why I like they it look good. It have a interesting look, especially had this cool shot where the cat come out of like well apparently one of the cats the main cat could cloak
Uh
and it
huh.
come out of cloak and then the camera turn to face it on the side and I find that look real good. Cause
Yeah.
it showed the outline, then the thing. I'm like, all right, that kind of cool. But yeah, I dug it for what it was. I enjoyed this. I had fun with it.
Yeah. So overall this is a season that I know might divide fans, right? Especially diehard fans of the show. This mainly because of how unconventional it is, right? And yes, I could see myself at probably thinking, probably after I see this, right? Yeah, probably saying, yeah, this is a little too inconsistent, man, in terms of the level of storytelling that we get here, right? So some are very, very strong. Some is more style over substance. Sometimes the style over substance works, other times it doesn't, you know what I mean? So yes, it has a sort of ebb and flow when it comes to the season, right? But and I'm actually like generally curious as to not so much concerned, but curious to see how this conceit goes going forward with the show, right? It's just the
Right.
idea that Tim Miller and David Fincher said, here's what, right? We just gotta get the best studios, they're gonna put out the best work, but they're not like they're just gonna tell different stories, right? We're not gonna tell them, and it's clear like it's not them pretty much telling them what to do, right? Even though I know Tim Miller direct a couple of episodes, right? And well, David Fincher did one, right? But it's not like they are telling these studios, hey, I want you to make this in this way, right? It's just wherever interactions take place, they put out the material and they just put it together in this package, and that's what it is, right? So I like the package aspect of it, that it just gain, yeah, just 10 episodes of, oh, this is like the brightest talent that we have right now as far as animation goes. Yeah, like tune in to see what else they put out, right? Hopefully they can work on a feature film or something like that. So as a package, it works, right? But as an anthology, this is kind of hit or miss, right? Where like if you just want consistent storytelling, like how that last season of or how this current season, sorry, of Black Mirror was, right? Where yes, storytelling was consistent. You're not gonna get that here. It is more style over substance, admittedly, right? But the style is great though. Like I would say there was no, except for, well, with the exception of Golgotha, where I'm not sure if it's pure VFX or not. I'm really not sure. But yeah, I think like just the art, just the high level of artistry though is consistent throughout the entirety of the season here, right? It's just the storytelling is kind of up down up down up down, but there's no like like they will say there's great ones and there's mid ones, right? But there wasn't really any that I would say was downright trash or wasn't worth watching at all. I think that all of them entertained for what they were, right? So rating wise, I'm gonna give this season a decent 3.5 out of 5, man. I think that it is worth checking out, right? But again, just go in knowing that you're gonna get a package of the best talent that you will get out there as far as like animation studios go, right? Again, if you just want to see just great visual storytelling, and yeah, just the mere fact that we have a show that just say here's what screw the rules, right? We gotta do our own anthology stuff and go wild with
Right.
it and do whatever we want to do. Yeah, I mean, hats off to Tim and David for even doing this, right? But again, I just don't know how far it's gonna go with this with this show going forward, right? If we do get another season, which we should, right? But yeah, I think that it is good for the most part. Just storytelling, kind of all over the place, but just again, just visual storytelling from episode 1 to episode 10, great in my opinion. But yeah, your final thoughts on Rated.
Yeah. All of them are pretty good for you. Again, the only one that didn't really work for me was the one with the the what is the smart apps stuff now. That what is the smart devices, stupid owners one. That's the only one that really
Yeah,
worked
well,
for me.
the
Not like it was,
appliances, the appliances.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, not like it is the objectively. It's not like it was objectively terrible or anything like. It just didn't work for me. That's just my take on it. That's it. All of these were good for what they are. Not amazing or mind blowing. Just like solid stuff, all things considered. Yeah, I can't say I like it as much as the previous seasons because that had some real standouts. Like that one with the Indian woman thing. That one was great. Like I remember that. That's it. But this one is still a good season. That didn't blow anybody away. Didn't blow my way back again because we live in 2025 and I am into animation stuff, so I kind of see it all. But yeah, this is still a solid out in all things considered.